Quick reminder, you can score yourself 10% off the games in this list and a whole host of other games. Just check out the link spreadsheet below, which has affiliate links to a bunch of games that will get you 10% off if you use those links, and you can get $30 in free Quest cash if you order a Quest 3 or Quest 3S using my affiliate links below. Now this video is all about those hidden gems, those games that deserve more attention but for one reason or another just haven't got the attention they deserve. I've spent weeks diving deep into the MetaQuest store to find the games that don't always make the headlines but are no less deserving of your attention. If you want to go beyond the mainstream titles and find out what you're missing out on, then this video is for you. Now just say there will be two parts to this video. Part 2 I am making just because I found a whole bunch of hidden gems that I couldn't simply fit into one list of top 10. So when that part 2 is ready, I'll link that out above and below so you can check that out. Now onto the games. Starting with Underworld Overseer. This is a dungeon sim, a dungeon management game, a bit like Dungeon Keeper if you remember that classic back in the 90s. As the dungeon master, you get to plan the layout of your dungeon, building traps, casting spells and managing your minions to defend your domain against the oncoming onslaught of adventurers. The reviews show it's got almost 5 stars out of 5 but only 117 reviews, and that may be because it's a fairly recent release, but a game of this quality I'd expect to see much more, and that's why I think this one is probably not as well known as it should be. There's about 7 to 8 hours of gameplay here and further updates coming in the future that will bring more content. So if you're looking for something like Dungeon Keeper reimagined in VR, then definitely check this one out. And if dark, dank environments are your thing, you should also check out COSMODREAD. This is a thrilling survival horror game in VR. It has 4.5 stars out of 868 reviews, which seems like a lot, but when you think it was released back in 2021, then that's really not a lot of attention that's received, especially given it is to date one of my favourite horror games on the Quest. You get to explore this derelict spaceship, and your goal is to restart the engines to make your way back home. The only problem is your spaceship is infested with these alien creatures from your nightmare. Now I think this one might have been overlooked because the graphics aren't fantastic and the monster design could be perhaps a bit better, but don't let that put you off because I found this game has some of the most tense atmospheric environments I've experienced on a standalone Quest game to date. It's also very strategic and nerve-wracking as you really have to scavenge and manage your resources. Oftentimes you might not have the weapons needed to deal with the creatures, meaning you have to basically run for your life or sneak around stealthily to get to where you want to go without being killed. It's a roguelike and it has procedurally generated environments, so every time you play the layout changes, giving you a fresh experience every time. And I also love the aesthetic. It has these like aliens vibe with the retro futuristic computers and lights and switches. I think it looks really cool. So if you want a kind of survival horror roguelike, then definitely check this out. I don't think you'll be disappointed. And in a similar vein, although not quite the same, we have this Metroidvania FPS adventure, GENOTYPE. It currently has 4.6 out of 5 stars and 299 ratings, which isn't much at all, especially given it's quite a decent game. Now the background to this game sounds a bit like it comes from the plot of the movie The Thing. You're in this abandoned lab in Antarctica that's overrun by monsters. You have to create and use these living creatures as weapons in order to survive. So it has this interesting mix of strategy and science and experimentation. It's a fairly lengthy game, it's quite a polished game too, easy to control with smooth gameplay and a variety of weapons. Just tons of guns to equip yourself with as well as unique upgrades. Just like COSMODREAD has tons of atmosphere, great atmospheric music. The graphics are pretty good too, and it's quite a hefty game with quite a bit of replay value there. And speaking of replay value, this game has plenty of it. It's AIRSPACE Defender. 4.8 stars out of 5, but only 56 reviews, so it definitely falls into that hidden gem category. And the gameplay is very similar to that retro classic Missile Command, except it's been brought into the future and adapted for mixed reality. If you're not familiar with Missile Command, you have to defend your airspace and manage your city's defenses by shooting down the missiles before they take out each of your buildings. Once your buildings are destroyed, then it's game over. As you progress further and further, the game gets more difficult, more missiles, different missile types, and so on. And your aim is to get as far as you can get and try to take that top score on the leaderboard. This game goes to show that sometimes the simplest games are the most addictive. It's really well put together, polished experience. You can upgrade your turrets with 8 different types There's also 5 different enemy types to combat. You also have mini quests, and I just love the overall look of the neon airfield. There's just something about it that's just beautifully retro, almost like Tron, that really appeals to me. And I think if you're after something arcade-like and addictive, then this will appeal to you too. And another mixed reality game that's similarly quite addictive but will get you moving is Laser Thief. 4.7 stars but only 64 reviews. And the aim of the game is very simple, just dodge the lasers in your play space. And in story mode you need to steal the item and make it back to home base. In bomb mode you need to retrieve as much loot as you can get before the bomb goes off. And then there's free play mode, which provides you with randomized laser dodging obstacles. So plenty of challenge here. And although you do need a minimum of 3 by 3 meters in your play space to play this one, if you have the space to make it work, I totally recommend giving it a go. I was playing this one with my sons. We cast it to the TV, taking it in turns to wear the headset, and it's just so much fun crawling across the floor, making our way across the couch, twisting, turning, contorting our bodies to get past the lasers. It was a great challenge and good clean fun. I can highly recommend this, especially with family and friends. It can certainly be a bit of a party game too, even though it's not labelled as such. I also found it to be quite a workout, surprisingly enough. Now, following the same theme of an arcadey style mixed reality game, we have Does It Stack. It's got 4.4 out of 5 stars but only 44 reviews, and so definitely a hidden gem by my standards. And it's very simple gameplay wise. You have to stack the obstacles to the marked height, or as high as they can go, and to add an extra bit of challenge, the same colours cannot be stacked one on top of the other, so you have to alternate the colours, which does make it a bit more challenging. There's 60 levels and about 150 unlockable objects for your stacking pleasure. You can try to compete with the online leaderboards, and it's another great party game that can be great to involve friends and family. It does have a local co-op mode too, so you can stack solo or with others in the same room, or you can just play solo, cast it to your TV and get the family involved, which is what I've done a few times in the past and it's always been a hit. So good simple arcade puzzle like fun that'll have you coming back time and time again. And if you're after a co-op puzzle game like Does It Stack but maybe something a bit more cerebral, check out Rooms of Realities. You can play solo or with friends, although I highly recommend getting a friend in on the action. It's got 4.8 out of 5 stars but only 268 reviews, which is way below what this game deserves. I haven't played this one solo, but I have played it 3-player co-op and it's fantastic, I've got to say, playing with 2 other friends. Puzzles are a bit of a mix. Some are fairly easy while others will have you scratching your head, and there's some clever puzzle design in there where if you're playing co-op you have to communicate with your partner who might be located in another space in order to solve the particular puzzle. There's 3 unique environments consisting of 9 levels. There's a timeless pyramid, a forsaken asylum and an underwater station. And the main negative here, I would say, is the lack of content. It might last you about 3 or 4 hours, maybe 5 hours at most, so do keep that in mind. But despite that, I think this is a great escape room experience. It will challenge you and really test your teamwork skills. These next 2 games I'm going to put together in a little package just because they've got a lot of similarities in their retro FPS feel. And this first one is a bit less well known than the other. This is Shock Troops. It's got 4.4 stars out of 262 ratings. As you can see, it tries to recreate those DOS era pixelated FPS games, those boomer shooters, and it has very much an Aliens type of feel to it. You fight your way through a derelict space station and other space themed environments. The enemies, they are quite quick and they shoot quick, and so you have to have good reaction times in order to progress through each of the stages. I really do like this visual style. For me, it has a lot of nostalgia as someone who grew up playing these retro shooters. And just like those shooters of old, the pickups are plentiful, so there's plenty of ammo to blast your way through each of the stages. And there's different characters, so even when you do beat the main game, you can come back and play with a different character that has different perks. You can pick up this game quite cheaply, and if you use my link below you can get 10% off, so even cheaper than the listed price. And I think for the price it is well worth it, particularly if you're a fan of, or you grew up playing retro shooters like Doom. And now the next game I'm going to bundle in with this is Compound. This game is a bit more well known. It's got 4.8 stars, 729 reviews. It's a roguelike randomized free roaming FPS shooter. As you can see, very much the same kind of pixelated art style. And I love a lot of things about this game, not just the look. And one of those things is the variety of weapons. There are a lot of different weapon types. They feel satisfying to handle and shoot. There's different customization options, including different difficulty modes. And being a roguelike, there's lots of replayability, particularly since stages are randomized. And it is purposefully meant to be a tough, challenging shooter. So you will die quite frequently. It will challenge you. But if you're okay with that, if you like the challenge, and if you are after a game which has the feeling of a classic boomer-like shooter, then I can strongly recommend Compound. And I'll finish this list with 2 more shooters that can be described as super hot style shooters, those time manipulation kind of mechanics, starting with Vendetta Forever. This game plays a bit like a mix between super hot and an action movie, if they were combined into one. It has this unique quirky mechanic where you have to shoot to not only kill your enemy but to also move. So when you kill an enemy, it propels you forward towards their spot so you can then grab their weapon and obviously move yourself through the stage. And this mechanic adds quite a bit of strategy to the game, because you're often having to decide which enemies to shoot in order to discover the ideal path through the level to get the best score, the best time, and the perfect run. So this game is all about figuring out where the enemies are placed, dodging bullets Matrix style, and getting that timing just right in order to get the best score. It's currently got 4.9 stars out of 5 out of just 120 reviews. And this game was released in October last year, so I really feel it deserves so much more than this. So if you're into games like Super Hot or Pistol Whip, I think you're going to love this game. It's a real action-packed VR experience with smart gameplay mechanics that are just so addictive and have you returning for more. It's really a lot of fun. And on that, my final game is Action Hero, another super hot style time manipulation game. It currently has 4.7 stars out of 5 out of only 170 reviews. This too was released last year in December, and just like Super Hot VR, the game mechanics are very similar. The time moves as you move, so you have to be really strategic with every move you make. And you get to dodge bullets in slow motion and do all this cool stuff that make these time manipulation games so much fun. But what sets this apart from Super Hot is the variety. There's 6 different movie genres, including like a secret agent one, an Indiana Jones style one, and each have a unique look, a unique feel, different variety of enemies, different types of guns and traps, and mix up the gameplay in a way that Super Hot does not. And so that's what really makes it a standout game for me. It has all the same kind of fun gameplay mechanics and polish that Super Hot VR has, except you get a lot more variety here. And to me, Action Hero almost feels like the sequel to Super Hot. It has all the same fun core gameplay mechanics, the same kind of polish, but just bigger, better and more varied. And so that completes my list. Remember, I am bringing out a part 2 to this, which I'll link below when that's ready, because I found a whole heap of games that you might be interested in, and I do have 10% off the games in this list plus a whole bunch of other games. Just check out the Google Sheet below and use those affiliate links for your 10% off. And in the meantime, I'd love to get your help in finding my next lot of hidden gems. Let me know what you think is a hidden gem that should be included in the next list, and I will take a look and review it. And who knows, it might make part 2 of my Hidden Gems quest series. So that's it from me. Thanks for watching as always, and I hope to catch you in the next one. Bye for now.